A few years ago, I sat at one of my local listening posts where someone called Penny came along and said, "I've never been to one of these things before where you sit down and talk with your local politician, but I just wanted to come and talk about how tough things are." And she said, "I just don't think politicians understand that things in Australia have changed so much that you can now do the right thing, look for a job, get a job, find yourself working casual arrangements and insecure work even after you've gone and studied and got a degree, and still not be able to afford a stable roof over her head." And she was struggling to hold back the tears as she said, "Don't politicians understand that if you can't create a system where all of us are guaranteed a roof over their head, then what's the whole point of it? What is the whole point of it?" And she is right. And Penny's words have stayed with me throughout the years that I have been in this place. Because housing in Australia is absolutely cooked. Absolutely cooked. In a wealthy country like ours, everyone should have a roof over their head, especially if you are lucky enough to find work. But we have a situation at the moment now where even if you find work, you can't be guaranteed to afford to rent or even buy a roof over a house within reasonable distance of where you work, let alone if you happen to find yourself being one of those 2 million people who either don't have a job or don't have enough hours of work. And why is this the case? It's the case because the government is taking billions of dollars of public money and using it to push up the price of houses in this country. And first home buyers or aspiring first home buyers are going along to auctions and finding themselves outbidded by someone who already owns 2, 3, 4, 5 homes because they know that they could write off the loss as a tax dodge, as a tax loss. You know that if you've already got a job, the government, if you've already got a house rather, or 2 or 3 or 4 of them, the government will write you a cheque to go and buy more, which pushes up the price and makes it harder for first home buyers to get into the market. And meanwhile, the cost of rent goes up and up and up. And one of the key things that governments could do to bring down rents and make sure housing is more affordable is build more public housing. Because if you build more public housing, you don't just deal with the waiting lists that in my state of Victoria is getting to 100,000 people waiting for a roof over their head. And I find myself every day in my office talking to mothers who've got kids who are couch surfing, who've been on the public housing waiting list for years, and they are couch surfing with kids, and they are homeless. In the definition of homeless, they are homeless and they still cannot find a space in public housing because we haven't built enough public housing. And the thing is, if we invested in public housing, we'd not only create jobs and help recover from the pandemic by giving jobs to people and including apprentices, but we'd help reduce inequality in this country. And you'd help bring down rents for everyone else because you'd be introducing a whole lot of stock at the lower end of the housing market, which would make rents cheaper for first home buyers and people who are looking to get into the market in the first place. So, as we recover from this pandemic and as we deal with the housing crisis in Australia, what we need to do is stop giving tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations, stop giving tax breaks and public money to people who've already got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses, and instead use it to invest to build large-scale public housing in this country. If we had the courage to invest to build 1 million new public housing homes in this country by winding back on some of the unfair tax breaks for the big corporations and billionaires who don't need them, and instead put that money into building public housing, 1 million new public homes would create in the order of 80,000 jobs and 8,000 apprenticeships, would help solve the housing crisis that we've got in this country, and would bring down rents for young people who are struggling to get into the market and save that deposit. So there's a solution to all of this. It's a win-win-win. If you go to the doctor and the doctor says to you, "You've got 3 things wrong with you and I can give you a medicine that fixes one or I can give you a medicine that fixes all 3, you take the medicine that fixes all 3. And that's why the Greens are saying the key to recovering from the recession that we are coming out of and reducing inequality in this country and ensuring that in a wealthy country like ours everyone has a roof over their head is to wind back the tax breaks, make the billionaires and big corporations pay their fair share of tax, use the money to invest in nation-building, job-creating projects that will cut inequality, like building public housing.